Well, thank you very much, and hello, Pennsylvania. Hello. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible Commonwealth with the thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots that I have gotten to know so well. 2 months from now, the people of Pennsylvania are going to fire the radical left Democrats, and you are going to elect Doug Mastriano as your next governor. And you are going to send my friend Oz. He is a great guy. To the U.S. Senate, you're going to elect an amazing slate of true America First Republicans to Congress, and we are going to end the Nancy Pelosi political career, the Biden political career. We're going to end it. Our country's going to hell. Our country is going to hell. This election is a referendum on skyrocketing inflation, rampant crime, soaring murders, crushing gas prices, millions and millions of illegal aliens pouring across our border, race and gender indoctrination, perverting our schools, and above all, this election is a referendum on the corruption and extremism of Joe Biden and the radical Democrat Party. If you want to stop this destruction of America, you must vote Republican. You got to get out and vote. As you know, this week, Joe Biden came to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to give the most vicious, hateful, and divisive speech ever delivered by an American president, vilifying 75 million citizens, plus another probably 75 to 150, if we want to be accurate about it, as threats to democracy and as enemies of the state. You're all enemies of the state. He's an enemy of the state. You want to know the truth? The enemy of the state is him and the group that control him, which is circling around him. Do this, do that, Joe. You're going to do this, Joe, right? I think Philadelphia was a great choice to make this speech of hatred and anger. His speech was hatred and anger. By the way, the next morning he forgot what he said. You saw that. They asked him about, I didn't think I said that, did I? Oh, no. How'd you like the red lighting behind him like the devil? But Philadelphia was a great choice because the city is being devastated under Democrat rule. Devastated. Hate to tell you, we love Pennsylvania. I went to school in Philadelphia. What's happening to Philadelphia? 14 people were shot last weekend in Philadelphia, 14. And the fake news will go out and check. Oh, that's a lot of fake news. Whoa. That's a lot of fake news. Wow. Well, they'll go out and check the facts. 4 people were killed last weekend. At one point last month, 7 people were shot in the span of just 71 minutes. Philadelphia. This year in Philadelphia has already seen more than 1,400 people shot, including numerous beautiful little children. Last year, the city set an all-time murder record with 560 homicides. And it's on track to shatter that record again in 2022, numbers that nobody's ever seen other than in some other Democrat-run cities. Armed robberies in Philadelphia are up 62%. Doug, you have to take care of this. You have to take care of this. And Oz will send you the goods. Oz, send him the goods. You know what the goods are? Lots of police officers. That's what the goods are. just recently announced retail theft is up 59% from last year. There have been more than 750 carjackings this year. Anybody have a nice car? Because you're not going to have it long. More than triple the average for 2010 to 2019, and it's heading way up, heading up in other cities that are run by Democrats also. Instead of trying to demonize half of the population, Biden and congressional Democrats should focus on stopping the killing and the bloodshed in Philadelphia and every other Democrat-run city in America, where record death and destruction is taking place every single day. Biden thinks making America great again is bad for our country. Do you believe it? That was in his speech. MAGA. MAGA, he says we got to stop MAGA. That's when I defined it, because I don't think he knows what it meant. It means make America great again. We have to stop it. Stop MAGA. Stop Make America Great Again. He thinks making America great again is a threat to our country. No, making America great again is great for our country. Great. There's only one party that's waging war on American democracy by censoring free speech, criminalizing dissent. You see that happening. Disarming law-abiding citizens, issuing lawless mandates and unconstitutional orders, imprisoning political protesters. That's what they're doing. Rigging elections, weaponizing the Justice Department and the FBI like never, ever before. And raiding and breaking into the homes of their political opponents. I wonder who that could be. Republicans in the MAGA movement are not the ones trying to undermine our democracy. We are the ones trying to save our democracy. Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. The danger to democracy comes from the radical left, not from the right. Not from the right. This November, we're going to stand up to this rising tyranny of sickness, lawlessness, and death, and we are going to take back our country. We're going to take it back. There could be no more vivid example of the very real threats from American freedom than just a few weeks ago. You saw it when we witnessed one of the most shocking abuses of power by any administration in American history. The shameful raid and break-in of my home, Mar-a-Lago, was a travesty of justice that made a mockery of America's laws, traditions, and principles before the entire world. The entire world was watching, and they're shocked. They're shocked. South American countries, numerous of them, their leaders said, could you imagine if that was ever done in our country, what the United States would be saying about us? The Biden administration invaded the home of their chief political opponent, who is absolutely destroying him and everyone else in the polls. I hate to say it. Even including the Republicans, but we love the Republicans. on a phony pretext, getting permission from a highly political magistrate who they handpicked late in the evening, just days before the break-in, and trampled upon my rights and civil liberties as if our country that we love so much were a third world nation. We're like a third world nation. They rifled through the First Lady's closet drawers and everything else. And even did a deep and ugly search of the room of my 16-year-old son, leaving everything they touched in far different condition than it was when they started. Can you believe it? The FBI and the Justice Department have become vicious monsters, controlled by radical left scoundrels, lawyers, and the media who tell them what to do, you people right there, and when to do it. They're trying to silence me, and more importantly, they are trying to silence you. But we will not be silenced, right? We will never stop speaking the truth. We have no choice because we're not going to have a country left. The evil and malice of this demented persecution of you and me should be obvious to all, and it is. Even media companies that are pretty far left have come out and said, we can't believe this is happening in the USA. We are being assaulted by the same group at the FBI and DOJ that just a few years ago declared no reasonable prosecutor would charge crooked Hillary Clinton after she set up a secret illegal server to hide her family's pay-for-play schemes, crammed it full of classified information, allowed it to be plundered by foreign hackers, you know that happened, and then deleted, acid-washed 30,000 emails. Think of that. 30,000 emails. And what else did she do? Boom, with a hammer, smashed her phone systems to smithereens after receiving the highest level of subpoena from the U.S. Congress. Think of that. Think of that. Yet now these same people, the exact same people, are sending the FBI storming through the home of their #1 political rival. It's a disgrace like possibly never before. Our country's never seen anything like it. They talk about documents not being properly stored, yet they go in and take documents, dump them on the floor, stage a photo shoot, and pretend that I had done it, like I had put them all over the floor. They took that back after a lot of prodding. Then they put out for public consumption a picture which is seen all over the world. This is what they do. It's called disinformation. These are very dishonest, sick people. Very dishonest people. Americans are sick of the lies, sick of the hoaxes and scams, and above all, sick of the hypocrisy. But our opponents have badly miscalculated. This egregious abuse of the law is going to produce a backlash, the likes of which nobody has ever seen before. Before our very eyes, our beloved country is being taken over by the very people who turn democracies into dictatorships and into, ultimately, ruination. They think they can divide us, but they can't. Can't divide us. They can't divide us. The MAGA movement is the greatest in the history of our country. And maybe in the history of the world, In any event, we have no choice. We are trying to save our country because such bad things are happening to our beautiful, beloved America. We will make America great again. I will never turn my back on you. And you will never turn your back on me because we love our nation. And we will save our nation from people who are trying to destroy it. It was not just my home that was raided last month. It was the hopes and dreams of every citizen who I've been fighting for since the moment I came down the golden escalator in 2015, wanting to represent the people, wanting to stop the massive corruption of our country, and determined to finally, in this world, put America first. I want to put America first, and we did. We did. We did. There's never been a period of time, both before COVID, or the China virus, as we say, and after COVID. From that moment on, I became the enemy of the Washington swamp. For 6 years, the radical Democrat Party, the rhinos, the media, and the deep state have tried relentlessly to stop me and you. First, they fabricated the Russia scam. You saw it was a total fabrication. Now they all admit it. Then we had impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, and now these same exact people at Justice and the FBI, the same people, along with outside scum, are at it again with the horrific raid of my home. They just go on, and they have to be stopped. We have to spend time on our country, not on defending ourselves against scams. Thank you. Think of it about Russia and the Mueller. No collusion, right? Came in, no collusion. That was your decision after 2.5 years, no collusion. I could have told them that after the first hour, and they could have said that because they had the laptop from hell, which had everything, so they knew immediately. But it went on. But think of this, you know, and I tell this story on occasion, very seldom, because it's too sad to tell. But I tell this story because it's very important. Russia was a hoax. It was developed by Hillary Clinton and a group of people, small group around a kitchen table, as a way of explaining why she lost an election that a lot of people thought she would win, because the Democrats have an advantage in elections because of a lot of things, aside from the fact they cheat like hell. So when they lost, Hillary Clinton and her people and guys like Adam Shifty Schiff, Watermelon Head, he's a watermelon head. But no dummy. But think of this. Think how bad they are. Think how evil they are. You're all fathers and your mothers and your children of great people, and all of the people are represented here. Think how bad they are. They make up a story that's false. It's now been admitted to be false. The FBI is the last one to tell us that. But it's now admitted, even in the newspapers, even by the people back there, they will not fight it. They make up. Now think of this, but think of this. So they make up a story about Russia. Just so you know, I was tougher in Russia than any president before. I'm the one that stopped Nord Stream 2, the pipeline. I'm the one that did the big sanctions. And I guarantee you one thing, Putin was not going into Ukraine. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you. Nobody was tougher than me, but I also got along with them. And that's a good thing. You know, getting along with other countries is a good thing, not a bad thing. But think of it. So they make up a story, Russia, Russia, Russia. It was made up so that when they lost, they could say, it was Russia. I'm saying, what the hell did Russia have to do with it? It was Russia. Okay, so Adam Schiff knows it's a fake story. He made it up with other people. They know it's a fake. And I see Adam Schiff go solemnly to the microphones in the Capitol building and stand there so sad and say, Donald Trump Jr. will be going to prison because of what he did with Russia. Now think of it. He knows the story's a scam. He knows the story's a fake. And he wants my son, who's a good kid, he wants my son to go to prison over something that they made up, that they know is a phony story and has now been, as they say, fully debunked. In other words, it was a totally, and he's standing before microphones with many of those people standing there, and they can't get enough, saying that my son is going to prison. And I then call my son. I say, Don, are you okay? What's going on? What's going on? Think of this if you're a parent. Think of it. My son's going to prison on something that they made, which is a total hoax. These are bad people. They're trying to destroy our country, and we can't let it go on any longer because we have too much work to do. Whether through activist attorney generals, these state attorney generals, if I fly over a state, they send me before a grand jury. There's Trump, he's up there. Let's see, what can we do with a grand jury? I've been going through this for 6 years now. Local Democrat DAs, county prosecutors, congressional committees or federal agencies, the radical Democrats are engaging in a desperate attempt to keep me from returning to the White House, where they know I will clean this mess up again. They want to stop us from completing our mission to bring back American values, secure America's borders. Millions and millions of people are pouring into our country. Nobody has any idea where they're from. Last month, 129 countries were represented. They're emptying their prisons into the United States of America. They know we'll continue to fix America's trade deals, continue to lower taxes. Nobody gave tax decreases like Trump, bigger than the Reagan cuts. And lower regulations that created all of those jobs. Defend and protect our police and our military. We have to protect our police. You know, our police want to protect us. They're stymied from doing it. We have to protect our police. They know we're going to reclaim our energy independence. We're going to save our Second Amendment, which is under siege. Rebuild our manufacturing base, just like I was doing. In other words, they know that we're going to make America great again. You know, we had a different saying because after we did so well, we were all set. And we had a statement, remember, keep America great. But after they destroyed it, I'd love to use it. But I must say, there's nothing like MAGA. You agree? There's nothing. I don't know, Doug. I don't know. CAG. CAG wasn't the same as MAGA. CAG. Keep America great. The problem I had, though, wasn't the fact that CAG can't compete with MAGA. The real problem I had that we can't use the word keep America great because they've destroyed our country. So we can't keep it great because it's not great right now. Our country is a laughingstock. Our leaders are a laughingstock. You know, we just sent another $13 billion to Ukraine. That gets us close to $80 billion. Now, well, it angers me more for a different reason. It would have never happened before. Putin knew he wouldn't have done it. He said, Vladimir, you're not going to do that, Vladimir. He knew that. He knew it. He knew it. But he did it as soon as the election was rigged and it was considered over. I don't know if it's ever going to end if you look at what's gone on, because more and more facts are coming out, like the FBI with Facebook the other day. Can you believe? But you know what? Our country, it would have been so inappropriate to say keep America great, because who the hell wants to keep our country the way it is right now? I don't. But together we have easily beaten every single witch hunt in the past. Think of that. But the time and the money and the effort it takes. And now we will likewise do that in the future if they continue their craziness and if they don't stop. They don't stop. That's all they're good at is disinformation. They put out disinformation. You know, when I heard about Russia was right after I came down that beautiful golden escalator. First lady, I said, you'll be a great first lady. She has been a great first lady. She's been a great first lady. They love our first lady. But people would come up to me. This was right at the beginning. And right after the escalator ride, the people go, sir, do you know anything about Russia? No, young guys come up, beautiful staffers. There are a lot of them here right now and here, all over the place, that just came up to me. You won Pennsylvania by a lot, sir. That's right. You're right about that. Doug, I think at 9 o'clock in the evening, we were 950,000 votes up with 73% of the vote cast. All of a sudden, around 3:02 or something, the equipment closed down. It all closed down. And then you had that massive spike. Remember the spike that went to heaven and came back? It should have gone to hell and come back. And all of a sudden we were tied. And then all of a sudden we lost by a whisper. A rigged election. But the people would come up. Some of them are here. Sir, sir. It's such an honor to meet you, sir. Sir, could I ask you a question? Yeah, what is it? Do you know anything about Russia? I say, no, not really. I know probably less than you know. But I have a lot of common sense, and I know how to defend our country. And I'll end up being friendly with them, and we'll do just fine. Then a month later, another one came up. Hello, Uncle Sam. Look at it. Stand up, Uncle Sam. Great people. Great people. Then a month later, another young person came up, a little naive, and said, and it was actually it was cute. He said, oh, sir, it's such an honor. We talked for a couple of minutes. He said, sir, can I ask you one question? It's been bothering me. Yeah, what is it? Do you know anything about Russia? And then again and again, and after about 5 or 6 times, do you know anything about Russia? I looked at my people, my top people that are a little older. I said, what the hell is going on with Russia? This is all I knew. What was going on? It was a scam. And we took 2.5 years to win. But all of that time and effort and money and the corruption and the people that were in charge of that scam are horrible. And they're the same people that we have now. They never leave. They never leave. And if we would have had an attorney general with courage instead of somebody that was afraid to be impeached. Sir, I don't want to be impeached. we would have gotten to the bottom of it very quickly. And we've been waiting for Durham for a long time. Durham, please come in and give us your work, please. Durham, we got to get Durham going here. But this battle is not about me. This is a struggle for the very fate of our republic. Our movement is fighting against a corrupt group of unelected tyrants who believe they can wield absolute power over you with the help of a willing and very corrupt media. They think the deep state, not the citizens, should be the true masters of this country. On our watch, we will never let that happen, and we will never let it happen. Even though we're going to be gone, we're going to set this country up so strong and so powerfully that we may not be here, at least some of the older ones, and I love you all, but we're going to have the country set up properly, like it was before the COVID came in, before the China dust came in, and even after we handed off, where we had a higher stock market, because we did it twice, but we had a higher stock market on January 20th than we did. Think of it, the so-called handoff. I hate to even use the term. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous to have to use that term. But the handoff, we handed it off. The market was higher than it was just prior to COVID coming into our country. We did an incredible job, an incredible job. But we have no choice in 2022 and 2024. We have to smash the grip of this vile and vindictive political class. We have to clean house in Washington, D.C., and we have to restore government for the people. Thank you. And if we do not, our republic and indeed our country will be destroyed, and we will never be able to do what is called a comeback. You won't be able to do it. It'll never come back again. It's so fragile, you know? It's so fragile. You will never bring it back again. You remember in the campaign, I used to say, if these people get in, we're going to end up with Venezuela on steroids. I said it many, many times. I never thought it was much of a possibility, but I never knew people could cheat like that. Not like that. Last week, weirdo, he's a weirdo, Mark Zuckerberg came to the White House, kissed my ass. Kissed my ass. Sure, I'd love to have dinner. Sure, I'd love to have dinner. I'd love to bring my lovely wife. All right, Mark, come on in. Sir, you're #1 on Facebook. I'd like to congratulate you. Oh, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it. Weirdo Mark Zuckerberg confessed that in 2020, the FBI went to Facebook and the media and gave them the false narrative that the Hunter Biden laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, even though they knew that was not true. So they went and they said it was Russian disinformation. By the way, the guy that came in with that stuff just got fired. He perk-walked. He was perk-walked out of the FBI on Friday. Isn't that nice? But that doesn't help us and the election of 2020, does it? That doesn't help us. They perk-walked him because of all the things he did. So many more than what we're even talking about. The FBI made it clear that they did not want the truth about the criminality and influence peddling of the Biden family coming out before the election, because that would hurt the chances of Joe Biden, who virtually never left his basement, winning the election. You know, he came to Philadelphia, as you know. You know how many people they had? Almost nobody showed up. And we have a lot of people in this place. And a lot of people. And we're not even talking about all the people outside that couldn't get in because you have better real estate, right? We got a lot of people outside watching. I hope they're watching we put screens up outside. You know, this place, I think it holds 12,000 people, so it was sold out in about 15 seconds. And I said, what are we going to do for the people that can't get in? That's why a lot of times I like fields, because fields you could just keep having them come. In Alabama, we had 66,000 people. Think of this. Outside of Houston, Texas, we had 89,000 people show up. Think of it. But what the FBI did was corruption and election interference on a scale that we have never seen before in our country. According to pollsters, it made a 10 to 20-point difference, not even including all of the other totally determinative evidence of illegality that was found having to do with the 2020 presidential election scam, including ballot stuffing and not adhering to the laws, rules, and regulations of state legislatures, which is totally illegal. They just did whatever they wanted to do. And frankly, Republicans locally that ran things in a lot of states should be ashamed of themselves. Should be ashamed of themselves. And a guy like Mitch McConnell, who allowed this stuff to happen, should be scorned. He should be scorned. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being destroyed by people who got into office through cheating and through fraud. Now watch. The cameras will all turn off as soon as I say that, because they're not allowed to put that on. The cameras, they'll all turn off. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. You know why? But Republican leadership just doesn't fight because in many cases they are intimidated and they're afraid. They're actually afraid. Republicans must get tougher and stronger and fast. By the way, I'll tell you a guy that fought. In fact, that's why he's here today as your nominee. Doug Mastriano. He fought. He fought. But he was dealing with rhinos and all sorts of crap. But Doug, you fought like very few people fought. That's really why he's here, because everybody saw that he fought. You know, after people figured it out, they all ran on the basis of, we're going to stop. But they were not there. He was there at the beginning. And the people understood it, so it's a big deal. And by the way, I saw a poll today, Doug, that you're tied or up 1 point. Just so you know, again, all they do well is cheat on elections and use disinformation. So when he's running, he's got a big base, and he won by a lot. He won by even more when I endorsed him, but that's okay. But he won by a lot. And you know what? They said, this guy Shapiro, who's a lightweight, they said the following. They saw he was going to win, he was doing well, he was way up, and he had a big base, and they don't like that. So what do? The one we really want to run against is Doug Mastriano. That's the one. Well, they say that on every time they have somebody that's going to kick their ass. They go out and they say, the one we want to run against. The one person they didn't want to run against is Doug Mastriano. It's disinformation. True. I kept hearing it. I'd be out, I'd see the people going crazy for Doug, for his incredible wife. But it's true. True. He was right there from the beginning, day one. You had to fight the Republicans and the Democrats. You had to fight people. American elections should be determined only by the American people. And that did not happen in 2020. And I'm just talking to FBI, but there are many, many other things. We won't go into it. The Mar-a-Lago raid, was a desperate effort to distract from Joe Biden's record of misery and failure. The many disasters that our country and the world are now suffering would never, ever have happened if I was in the White House. You all know that. All of this stuff wouldn't have happened. You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our country in less than 2 years. They could not have done it. 2 years ago, when I was in office, gas was $1.87 a gallon. And we weren't talking about going to all-electric cars, which are twice as expensive. I mean, the problem is, a friend of mine wanted to do something for the environment. He went out and bought an electric car. And he made a certain trip, I won't say from where, Kentucky. I won't say from where. And he's a good person. He wants to do what's well. Now he understands. Not so good. And he bought an electric car, and he made the trip often from Kentucky to Washington, and he made it, and he'd drive down and put the car away and drive back. He was getting like 38 miles a gallon, and it was fine. And then he goes to hybrids and all the other things they can do. But he wanted to go all electric because he wants to save our country. He wants to save the atmosphere. And he called me. He said, I'm exhausted. Why? He said, this damn trip took me forever. I'd drive for 2 hours, and then I'd have to have my car charged. And in 2 cases, I couldn't find a place to charge it, but even if I could, it took me more time to charge the damn car than I could spend in it driving. He said, it took me 2.5 times. Please, please, let's get rid of this stuff. Please. And you see in California, you see what's happening there, where they're going all electric cars. Number one, people can't afford them. Number two, the batteries are made all in China. All the earth, the rare earth, comes out of China. And interesting, we have all the gas and the gasoline, when it's refined, we have it all right under our, we don't have any of the other stuff. And if we did, our environmentalists wouldn't let us take it. It all comes out of China and a little bit in the Congo, which has, guess who controls the Congo? China. We play right into their hands. You see where I'm getting a lot of great press? Because I told Germany, don't make a deal with Russia on the pipeline. And they said, oh, that's so funny. I actually sent, during a meeting, G7, I sent Angela Merkel, a white flag of surrender. She said, Donald, but why do you send me this white flag? I said, Angela, because you're going to surrender. 75% of your energy is coming from Russia. If you look back over the decades, Russia and Germany haven't done too well together. When there's a war, when there's a problem, they'll just turn off Nord Stream 2. And Angela, you're not going to be able to defend yourselves. Oh, that will never happen. Well, that was about 2 years ago. The only thing, I never thought it was going to happen this fast. And now they're giving me great. Remember, I made the speech at the United Nations, and the German delegation was all smiling. They thought it was so funny. They're not smiling now. He said it better than me. They're not smiling now. But now gas is $5 and $6 and $7, and it's going to be going up. Think of it. And they brag because it came down slightly. You know, it came down about 42 cents. We actually had it down at one point to $1.42. Remember that? But I had to get it a little up. We had to let the oil companies make a couple of bucks. I didn't want to wipe out the oil companies. But what's happened is one of the big reasons for inflation is what this guy has done with energy, because energy is so all-encompassing. It's so big. With the help of Pennsylvania energy workers, did you get screwed or what? Remember, I told you they were going to do this to you. He lied. During the debate, he said, no, I would never do that. The first thing he did, practically, was end the Keystone Pipeline, right? That was like the first thing he did. And you know, all those workers voted for me, but the head of the union voted for... I wonder, is he still the head? Check it out. He ought to be fired real fast. The Keystone Pipeline would have been great. A lot of jobs, and would have done a good job. With the help of Pennsylvania energy workers, under my leadership, we had American energy independence for the first time ever. And within a short period of time, we would have been energy dominant. We would have been bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined ×2. And now we're beggars. We're like a beggar nation. We gave you, think of that, we're energy beggars. We would have been bigger than everybody combined. The biggest energy suppliers combined ×2. We were going to be energy dominant, and now we're beggars. We gave you the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts in American history. The radical Democrat Congress just passed one of the largest tax hikes in American history, pulverizing the middle class. And now you have the privilege of having 87,000 IRS agents go after you. And they've actually been approved. I'd never heard of this one. They got approved to carry guns, so they can go after you with guns. You know, they don't want to have guns, but it's okay for the IRS. It's like an army. Can you imagine that was approved, that they allowed that to get through? And all Mitch McConnell had to do is waive the debt ceiling. I'm not approving anything having to do with debt ceiling unless you drop all this crap. $4 trillion worth, because Manchin folded like a dog. You saw that. And I always said he would. I told you he would. He did. And West Virginia, which voted for me, 45 points. I was up 45 points. West Virginia is not happy with Joe Manchin because he killed coal and they put taxes on coal. Clean, beautiful coal. He killed it. I can't imagine he's going to do well. I don't know what the hell got to him. Under the Trump administration, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world with no inflation. Biden and the Democrat Congress created the worst inflation in 50 years, 9.1%, and it's going to go a lot higher. And now they are making it worse with their immoral plan to wipe out hundreds of billions of dollars of debt for college graduates. Now think of this. How unfair is it? How unfair is it to all of those people, many of you are here, that paid and worked so hard? I saw they were doing a story about Pocahontas. That's Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts. And this big, strong guy came up to her, really a good-looking guy. And he looks at her and goes, well, what's going on with this debt? You want to cancel the debt? I've been working my ass off for 12 years, he said. And I've almost got my daughter's debt paid off. I worked weekends, 12 years. My neighbor, he's my friend, but he hasn't worked at all. And now the debt's going to be canceled, but I worked. This is unfair. And then he was not too nice after that, so we'll forget what he said. But he was not too happy. But you can multiply that times millions and millions of people. They paid for it on the backs of hardworking citizens, and they're raising your taxes. Remember this, you don't realize it. You're getting the biggest tax increase in history. It's all disinformation. They're saying under 400,000. You're getting the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. So enjoy paying it. And you know what it's paying for? Things like that, but the Green New Deal, which is like taking the money and throwing it out the window. And it's actually worse. It's actually like taking the money and destroying our country, because it sets us back. Just like Germany. You know, Germany's back to building and opening its plants because they got so screwed up with their green new energy. They got carried away. Windmills all over the place, killing all the birds, destroying all the values of homes, destroying the plains and fields, beautiful plains. If you want to see a dead bird cemetery, go under a windmill sometime. It's not a pretty sight. It's also the single most expensive form of energy you can get. And all of those big, giant turbines are built in China and Germany to a lesser extent. I rebuilt our military, including our nuclear capability, and hope to God we never have to use it. And the creation of Space Force. Do you see what they're doing with Iran? Iran was dying to make a deal with me. I would have had a deal done within 1 week after the election. And now we're going to pay them hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're going to have nuclear weapons within a short period of time. These people are crazy. I mean, they honestly, they can't be stupid. They must hate our country. They must hate our country. They surrendered our strength and our wisdom, our everything. They turned Afghanistan into the greatest humiliation our country has ever seen. I believe it was the most humiliating time that our country's ever gone through. 13 dead soldiers, but they never mentioned those soldiers who lost their legs and arms and face. They were obliterated. Nobody talks about them, and there were many. Nobody talks about them. We left American citizens behind, and we left $85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the entire world, planes and tanks and goggles, 700,000 rifles and AK-47s. We left it all behind. Think of this, 70,000 vehicles. There's not a used car lot in the country that has probably 500 vehicles. 70,000 vehicles we left behind. Some of those vehicles cost millions of dollars because they're armor-plated with 6 inches of steel. We left it all behind. I built much of it because I rebuilt our entire military. We left, think of it, $85 billion worth of military equipment. And you know, I saw a number the other day. The second largest arms dealer in the entire world is Afghanistan. Because they're selling, because they don't need 700,000 rifles and guns. 700,000. They need 40,000 or 20,000. What were we thinking? You don't take the military out first. And remember this in Afghanistan. 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier. You heard the numbers on Philadelphia? 18 months. I spoke to Abdul. I said, Abdul, don't do it, Abdul, don't do it. Don't do it. But why, sir? Why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, Abdul, that's a different story. Don't do it. And we were fine. Remember, they said, why is he speaking to the Taliban? Because that's where the problem was, right? That's where the problem was. 18 months, and Biden actually said it a couple of months ago. Well, I'll say one thing. We didn't lose one soldier in 18 months, and they're screaming at him, you don't take it back. You're not supposed to say that because it's good. We didn't lose a soldier in 18 months. They were so afraid. They didn't want anything. We could have gotten out. I wanted to get out more than anybody. I'm the one that got it down to 2,000. But also, we should have kept Bagram because of China. Bagram Air Base cost billions and billions of dollars years ago to build. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We should have never left without keeping Bagram. What a shame. The most humiliating time. I believe, actually, that probably Putin went in because when he saw the incompetence of that, he said, this is going to be easier than I thought. And now we have a war between Russia and Ukraine with potentially hundreds of thousands and even millions of people are going to die. That would have never happened if I was your president. It would have never happened. I promise you. I talked to him. Vladimir, you can't do that. Can't do it, Vladimir. Those beautiful golden turrets in Moscow, Vladimir, I want to leave them alone, please. You can't do it, Vladimir. He would never have done it. He would never have done it. He said, well, I sort of believe you because you actually did kill me on Nord Stream 2. Nobody thought that was possible. I ended North. Can you imagine? Biden came in and he opened up the pipeline. I ended it. Then he said, oh, Trump was soft on Russia. I was soft. The only one that doesn't think that is Putin. He didn't think I was too soft with the sanctions. But think of it. The biggest deal they've ever done is Nord Stream 2 that nobody ever heard of until I came along. They were building this massive pipeline. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2 until I came along. We created the safest border in United States history. We ended catch and release. We deported record numbers of illegal aliens, gang members, and we built hundreds and hundreds of miles of border wall despite 2.5 years of Democrat-inspired lawsuits. We had 11 lawsuits. I won every one of them. Took 2.5 years to win. And you know, we completely finished our original plan for the wall. And they came to me, sir, we have some other sections. I said, let's do it. Come on, let's go fast. Then we added much more wall, 200 miles, and we almost got that finished on top of what we did. And I figured that this guy would finish it up, and he didn't. Not only didn't he finish, when Texas wanted to use the stuff that was sitting there ready to be erected, it was going to be erected very quickly, very effectively. Great wall. It's exactly what Border Patrol wanted. I said, what do you want? This is exactly. They wanted steel. They wanted concrete. They wanted rebar, heavy set rebar. They wanted exactly, and they have to be able to see through so we see what's happening on the other side. I wanted to just give them nice, big, beautiful concrete plank, but they didn't want that. So we gave them exactly what they wanted, and they could have been finished in a few weeks. And not only didn't they give this free to Texas, where Texas could have put it up, they actually took it away and put it in a secure area where nobody can take it. That's just a terrible thing. 3 weeks was all it would have taken to complete the job. Our country is paying a terrible price for the rigged election. I ran twice, I won twice, and did much better the second time than I did the first. Getting millions and millions more votes in 2020 than we got in 2016. You know that. Doug knows that. We got millions of more votes. I tell people, yeah, oh, what a great job you did. I was being interviewed by this fake news reporter, and he said, what happened in 2020? I said, well, we did much better, actually. We got millions more votes. We got the largest number of votes of any sitting president in history. They said, you know, I never thought of it that way. I said, why don't you start thinking about it that way? Got a rigged election. And likewise, getting more votes than, think of it, there's never been a president, a sitting president, got anywhere near, I think we got like 10 million more votes than Obama got. Obama, you know, so popular, so popular. He's so popular. They say he's so handsome. Oh, Obama's so handsome. He's such a great speaker. What does he say? He says nothing. And we're leading Biden and everyone else, including the Republicans, by record numbers in the polls. So I may just have to do it again. You'll be staying tuned. May have to do it again. You hear that, Oz? Do it again. May just have to do it again. But first, we have to win a historic victory for the Republican Party this November. Among our highest priorities must be to end the nightmare Joe Biden and congressional Democrats have created on our southern border, a nightmare. Remember this, we had the strongest, best border we ever had 2 years ago. Now we have the worst border. I believe it's worse than any border anywhere in the world, because no third world country would let people come into their country the way we have. Right here in Pennsylvania last year, 2 illegal alien criminals allegedly brutalized and bludgeoned a man to death on a busy street corner. In Chester County, an illegal alien stands accused of grabbing a 33-year-old woman by the hair, pulling her down and around the ground, and stabbing her to death in front of her 7-year-old daughter and her 3-year-old son. And just a few weeks ago, an illegal alien murderer was charged with shooting to death a 76-year-old man from Pennsylvania. He took a walk every morning, and this guy killed him for no reason whatsoever. Didn't know him, didn't do anything, just wanted to kill him. The radical Democrat Congress has turned our country into one giant sanctuary for dangerous criminal aliens. We protect all of the criminals. We don't protect our own people. In fact, they raid our people. In the Republican Party, we believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding citizens who love America. Right? If we're going to make America great again, our first task is to make America safe again. We have to have a safe country. We have to have a safe country. And you know, I told you before I love the fields, but I like these better because the air conditioning system. But this air conditioning is not working too well. It's about 100 degrees up here. I'm sweating like a dog, but I'll call Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz, am I okay, doctor? Am I okay? He says yes. He says yes. You know, I was on a show years ago, and Dr. Oz, I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I was on a show years ago, and he did like an examination of me. I don't know what the hell I did the show for. I wasn't like even a politician at that point. But he did an examination, and the word said, he's extremely healthy, really a very, very fine, fit man, but he should lose 20 or 25 pounds. I was so angry I didn't speak to him for years. Remember that? He said he was great, but he could lose a couple of pounds. He's great. He's going to be great. Under Democrat control, the streets of our great cities are drenched in the blood of innocent victims. Much of this crime is caused by drug dealers who, during the course of their lives, will kill an average of 500 American citizens. Every drug dealer is responsible, and that doesn't include what they've done to families of people that haven't died, but families that are just devastated by what happened to their children and to themselves. Think of it, 500 people, the average drug dealer. I'm calling for the death penalty for drug dealers, which will, upon its passage, reduce drug distribution in our country on day one by 75%. No more blue ribbon committees telling us what to do, you know. I was setting them up in the White House. There's a blue ribbon committee headed by socialites. And they just want, I mean, look, they're very nice people, but they just want a little publicity for themselves. They can't deal with the kind of killers that we're talking about. We want the death penalty for drug dealers, and you will save millions of lives. You know, we're going to lose 250,000 people, I think, this year. You know, just to go off for a second, does anybody mind that I do that? No. Is there any better place to be on a beautiful Saturday evening than a Trump rally? I don't think so. Trump rally. But just to go for a second, so, you know, I got to know a lot of the foreign leaders, and let me tell you, unlike our leader, they're at the top of their game. These are like central casting. There's nobody that could play the role in Hollywood. All of Hollywood, nobody can play the role of President Xi of China. Nobody could play the role. He's a fierce person. Putin, fierce. They're smart. You know, a lot of times I'll say somebody's smart, and the fake news will go, he called President Xi smart. He rules with an iron fist 1.5 billion people. Yeah, I'd say he's smart. Wouldn't you say he's smart? So I'm with President Xi, and I got along with him very well. I mean, once COVID came, it was just so, but we made a great trade deal with him, helped our farmers, helped our manufacturers. But I'm with him, and I really had a great relationship with him. And then I asked him a question. I said, President, he's president for life, by the way. So I call him King. I say, King. He said, but I am not king. I said, you are to me. You're president for life. It's the same thing. He will be very soon. You know, they're having another. By the way, do you notice a lot of ships are circling Taiwan? That wouldn't have happened either, by the way. But I said, President, could I ask you a very simple question? Do you have a drug problem? He looked at me like what's wrong with it? No, of course not. He goes, no. He's like, what the hell stupid question is that? No. I said, you don't have a drug problem with 1.5 billion people. His big problem is they make the drugs, they send them into our country. That's their problem. That would have been their problem, and he was stopping it too. But now they're sending the fentanyl in at numbers that you wouldn't believe. Wouldn't believe it. Pouring through that porous border at numbers you wouldn't believe. I had him very close to stopped. He couldn't do it. I told him he can't do it. So, President, you don't have a drug problem. But why don't you have a drug problem? We have quick trial. I said, what is a quick trial? We immediately catch the drug dealer. We give him quick trial. And if he is guilty, which I would say probably they're batting, would you say, Oz, would you say they're about batting 100% or only 99? If the drug dealer is guilty, he is immediately executed. So we have no drug problem in China. And they have other countries like that, too, Singapore, other countries. And if you do that, you know, I've told this, and it's a hard thing to say, because calling for the death penalty is tough. But think of it. They kill 500 people during a lifetime, and I think it's much worse than that. I think that's only what we hear about. It would stop. If you didn't get it down 75, 80, 90% from day one, I'd be surprised. And these committees that they set up, it's laughable. It's a horrible thing. We would solve that problem so fast, and I'm calling on Republicans and Democrats immediately to get to Washington and institute the death penalty for drug dealers. You will no longer have a problem. So Philadelphia has become, as you heard many times over the last short period of time, worse than it's ever been. It's become a killing field. A few days ago, a 4-year-old boy was shot while getting a haircut for his first day in school. His mother was so proud of him. He was getting a hug. He was shot. Recently, a pregnant mother was shot in the head and horribly murdered. Her unborn baby was miraculously saved. Under a Republican Congress, we should pass emergency funding to hire thousands and thousands more police officers nationwide, to put violent criminals behind bars and keep them behind bars. And also, leave our police alone. Let them do their job. Give them back their respect. They know what to do, and nobody can do it better, but they're under siege. They don't want to lose their house. They don't want to lose their families. What they do to police officers, what they do to police, and you're always going to have some bad apples, but they're very few. And we have a country that's become one of the most unsafe countries in the world. Think of it. You know, we're dealing with third world nations where they're much safer than major parts. Think of it, what I said. In Afghanistan, we didn't lose one soldier in 18 months, and yet I just read off numbers in Philadelphia. If you look at Atlanta, I have a district attorney in Atlanta. She's after me for a perfect phone call, and yet it's even worse proportionately than Chicago for killing. But the district attorney, Trump made a phone call because he was challenging the election. So they're after me for a perfect, by the way, perfect phone call. You'd be very proud of me. Just like the call to Ukraine was a perfect call. The one in Atlanta was a perfect call. Perfect call. And yet Atlanta is even worse than Chicago, proportionately. Restoring safety to America starts with defeating the Democrat extremists right here in Pennsylvania. Your state's radical Democrat candidate for Senate, John Fetterman, is the most dangerous Democrat. He's the most dangerous Democrat. Seeking to join Congress this year in one of the most fringe, far-left freak shows ever to seek election for any office in any state. You know, I've watched him over the last couple of years, and I said, you got to be kidding. Actually, I thought Connor Lamb, I don't know Connor Lamb, but I thought he was maybe a decent politician. You know, he campaigned in a sort of a middle Democrat area, and he was doing commercials that was so good for me that people thought that he was a Republican. I like Connor Lamb. But Fetterman got it, and he got it in a landslide. And this guy's a disaster. He comes in with a sweatsuit on. I've never seen him wear a suit. A dirty, dirty, dirty sweatsuit. It's really disgusting. You know, I'm a clean freak. I'm a clean freak, Oz. I don't like those dirty sweatsuits. They're disgusting. Fetterman may dress like a teenager getting high in his parents' basement, but he's a raging lunatic hell-bent on springing hardened criminals out of jail in the middle of the worst crime wave in Pennsylvania history. He wants everybody out of jail. And by the way, he wants to get rid of your police. Fetterman is a defund the police Marxist who's just pulling the wool over people's eyes, who literally said that if he had a magic wand and could fix one thing, he would end life sentences without parole for murderers, cop killers, rapists, and other monstrous criminals. That's what he said. He wants them to get out of jail. Get out of jail. Let's put Trump in jail. Let's get these murderers. Let these murderers out. Put Trump in jail. That Trump is no damn good. He just works his ass off for this country. Through his position on the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons, Fetterman has released a record number of dangerous criminals back onto the streets, many of which have created horrible, just atrocious crimes. He supports setting loose 1 out of every 3 inmates in your prisons. And he bragged that his goal is to get as many criminals out onto the street as quickly as possible. Fetterman supports taxpayer-funded drug dens and the complete decriminalization of illegal drugs, including heroin, cocaine, crystal meth, and ultra-lethal fentanyl. And by the way, he takes them himself, which would mean death and despair for every community in Pennsylvania and every community in the United States of America. Compare that to President Xi of China. A little different, would you say? Fetterman openly supports deadly sanctuary cities, and he signed a pledge to ban fracking, which would demolish almost 1 million jobs in Pennsylvania. I told you they were going to do that, Pennsylvania. Well, you did listen to me because I won Pennsylvania by a lot. You did. I can't hold you. I can only hold accountable the stupid people that counted the votes. Did you ever hear the statement by, I believe it was Lenin? Did anyone ever hear of Lenin? People would say it with less sophistication, Lenin. Lenin, I like the way they say that, where he said, the vote counter is far more important than the candidate. Well, that turned out to be true. The vote counter is far more important than the candidate, said by Lenin. And while Fetterman wants to raise your taxes, he is a spoiled and entitled socialist loser who leached off his parents' money. You know, he lives on the parents' money until he was 49 years old. And on top of it all, he's too cowardly to even show up and debate. A very nice man, Oz. He's very nice. Oz, you'll treat him nicely, right? Because he knows that his positions are totally indefensible. And in all fairness, you need somebody that's going to be out there and just ripping it for you. Otherwise, you're going to lose out to all the other senators that are going to bring back money to their states, etc. And Oz will do it. Fetterman is running against a man I have known for many years. I told you I had a real problem with him when he said I was a little heavy. I didn't like that. And of course, it was false, right? Was he wrong? And who is with our MAGA movement all the way. He's with us all the way. And, you know, some people thought that, oh, gee, maybe this was a little bit of a controversial thing, but I know him very well. And he's a guy that gets it done. He's a good person, too. His wife is a fantastic person. I think I like her even more than I like him. Lisa. So I'd like to ask Dr. Oz to step forward and say a few words. He's been an incredibly successful man on television and medicine. He knows what's happening, and he's going to work and fight for Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Pennsylvania, we have one question, one important question we have to answer by November 8th. Are you ready for it? Is the country headed in the right direction? If your friends say yes, take away their car keys, they should not be driving. In that condition, people should stay home. But if the answer is no, we've got a big problem, this country has dramatically turned in the wrong direction, I'm the person for change. I'll make the change based on our family values here in Pennsylvania because I believe in the American dream. I am part of the American dream. My whole life has been about hard work and earning and supporting other Americans because that's what Americans do. I believe we can make safe city streets and communities. I believe we can have a secure border and allow legal immigration, but not the fentanyl brought by traffickers bringing human beings and fentanyl from China, which took 100,000 lives last year. And I know people in this audience have been hurt by fentanyl. I believe we can have an economy that helps the American people, but most importantly, I believe in each and every one of you, and so should you. God bless you.
So we have a great record of endorsement, all of us together. It's very close to 99%, and I endorse that guy, and I'm telling you, I will always tell you this. I'll tell you the truth, and he is going to be a phenomenal representative for Pennsylvania. You got to vote him in. You got to vote him in. He's a great guy. And Lisa, thank you very much. Thank you very much for what you have to put up with, Lisa. Thank you very much. You know, they spent, just so you know, they spent like $50 million trying to destroy that man. $50 million, like it was water, and they didn't come close. This guy is tough, and he's strong, and he loves this state. Right? This November, you also have to defeat the far-left Democrat candidate for governor, little Josh Shapiro, who is so much like Fetterman, other than he's about half his height, which is fine. Just fine. I always say it's absolutely fine, because we don't want to tell height jokes. You can't tell any jokes today. Not weight jokes, not height jokes. I've got them all covered. But he is a disaster for the state. He's the one that kept saying, oh, after it came out that we have a great man running against him. Oh, that's the man I wanted to run against. No, it's not. Because that's the man that had a base like I do. He has a base that's so powerful and so strong. He doesn't want to run against him. As Attorney General, he presided over the complete disintegration of law and order and letting gangs and criminals run wild. Look at the numbers I just talked to you about in Philadelphia. Well, he's the guy. Those numbers are getting worse. There's nothing to stop these animals from continuing. Those numbers are going to get worse if that's possible. It's not even, you would think it's not possible. Shapiro supports sanctuary cities. He sided with Marxist, anti-American BLM radicals and Antifa. And he's a vicious hater of free speech and a hater of your Second Amendment. So he's going to let criminals roam your streets, and he's not going to let you have a gun to protect yourself. Shapiro is also using his office to shut down your children's schools and force masks to be strapped to your children's faces, doing unimaginable harm. And like Fetterman, Shapiro is a pro-abortion extremist who supports totally unrestricted abortion on demand right through the 9th month. Think of this. And you know where I am. you know where I am, the exceptions. I believe in the exceptions. He supports it, though, right through the 9th month and beyond. You know what beyond means? After the baby is born. After the baby is born. So as I said in my debate with crooked Hillary Clinton, rip the baby out of the womb at any time. And if the baby's already out of the womb, he's there too. Just talk to the doctor. No, you don't want that. The states will make the decision. By the way, the states will make the decision. And in Pennsylvania, I have a feeling that decision will be an interesting decision, but it's up to the states, and that's the way it was always supposed to be. But he wants to let things happen that no civilized person would allow. They don't allow it in other countries. No Pennsylvanian should listen to one word on abortion from these two twisted sickos who believe in killing and dismembering babies right up until that time of birth. Shapiro is running against an incredible patriot and a fearless warrior for Pennsylvania workers and Pennsylvania values, Doug Mastriano, who has been with me right from the beginning. I mean, right from the beginning. I remember that, Doug. They all wanted my endorsement. They all ran. I know you had the U.S. attorney, nice guy. He was a nice guy, but he did nothing in terms of the election fraud. No, there was no problem in Pennsylvania. There was no problem in Philadelphia. There was massive problems. And then he wants to run. He said, sir, Bill Barr would not let me go after anybody. He wouldn't let me touch anybody. What a shame. What an opportunity. But he wanted to run. Others wanted to run. I said, the one guy that supported election integrity and supported me right from the beginning is Doug Mastriano. The one guy. Yeah. He came to the White House. Came to the White House with a whole group of people. He brought them, and he was fighting like hell. It was really an uphill battle because you had the Democrats. They didn't want to hear anything. And then you had some bad rhinos that just someday somebody's going to explain the rhinos. Why are they doing it? But Doug is a former Army colonel who honorably served our country in uniform for 30 years before going on to fight for you in the state Senate. Became the most respected person in the Senate and definitely the hardest fighter. He was a relentless person out there fighting against lockdowns and COVID mandates. He didn't want to destroy our children. He got it long before the so-called doctors who weren't very good. And a true champion for election integrity and tough as hell on a thing called illegal immigration. He wants people to come into our country legally. As your governor, he will back down everybody. He'll back down those violent criminals, and he'll crack down on violent crime, end COVID mandates, protect Pennsylvania oil and gas workers, which right now, enjoy your job for another couple of months because you're not going to have it longer, and defend your jobs, your rights, and your freedoms. Doug is joined by an incredible person who I also got to know, because we were in a real fight with a lot of really sick, bad people. Rebbe, thank you very much. Thank you. Stand up. And she was a big part. She's a great partner to a man that will become one of the greatest governors in this country. Doug, please come up. Please come up.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. Pennsylvania loves you and America needs you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for paving the way for people like me and everyone you see out here to fight for freedom. Thank you for taking the shots and standing boldly and leading by example. Pennsylvania is a keystone state. On 8 November, we're taking our state back by storm. That's right. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to be the state where people want to come to raise their families and to succeed in business. On day one, we're out of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. We're going to drill and dig like no tomorrow. That's right. That's right. We're going to do it. Oh, yeah. On day one, we're no longer a sanctuary state. So Joe Biden can have these illegals. We'll dump them off at his beach house where he spends all his time anyway. He can have them. On day one, we're going to have the backs of our beautiful law enforcement. On day one, there's no more mask requirement or COVID jab requirement. That's right. We're going to walk like free people like never before. Pennsylvania, this is where the light of liberty was lit in 1776. A new birth of freedom in 1863. And something very near and dear to both of our hearts. We're going to fight like hell for voting integrity, and we're going to start with voter ID. That's right. That's right. That's right. The left. My opponent is too dangerous, too extreme, and too radical for Pennsylvania. He can't even define what a woman is. I mean, the guy is nuts. Pennsylvania is less safe with his 6-year record of failure as Attorney General. That all ends on 8 November. Pennsylvania. The key to our nation starts with us. And let's not forget in 2001, and you were a champion on 9/11/2001, Mr. President, that he was. We saw him at the World Trade Center. Meanwhile, Flight 93 over Somerset County, the terrorists had it. Todd Beamer and other people on that plane took action. What did they say? Pennsylvania, let's roll. Thank you.
You know, Doug said a lot in a few short sentences. One of the things he mentioned was voter ID. Now, the Democrats don't want voter ID. Actually, it's interesting. The leadership, the people want it 91%, Democrats. But the leaders don't want voter ID, okay? They'll think the only reason you don't want voter ID, there's only one reason, because you want to cheat, right? That's the only reason. When you had the Democrat National Convention, the last one, they had signs on, the biggest signs, they were like billboards, pictures, fingerprints, everything. You couldn't get in. But the greatest thing happened over the last few days. Starbucks, remember Schultz, this guy Schultz? The one with the extremely thin legs. I think maybe Dr. Oz would have said he's either really good or very, very, very thin. But he was doing a debate. He was sitting down. I thought his legs, I didn't think he'd be able to stand up. But Schultz, he's the head of it. And he just announced unions are trying to take over Starbucks. But he will not, under any circumstance, allow mail-in voting because it's evil and corrupt. And the process can be corrupted. And yet, when he was running for president for about 3 days before he realized he couldn't win, took him about 2 days. But when he was running for president, he was talking about mail-in ballots. Now that he's got his company that he's got a nice piece of, he wants nothing to do with voting by mail-in ballots for unions because he says you can't get a fair vote and it's easily corruptible. When are people going to get smart? Get rid of this mail-in voting. It's killing our country. All right, you'll do it. We're also joined tonight by the next congressman from Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District, Jim Bognett. Jim, thank you very much, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Good luck. I hear you're doing well, Jim. Well, these two guys are going to help you a lot. Thank you, Jim. Great job. So Jim's running against radical Democrat socialist Matt Cartwright. That's another beauty. Who said he's all abroad, he is all on board for the Green New Deal, greatest waste of money in history. The Green New Deal, why don't you just throw the money right out the window? And he absolutely supports defunding the police and votes with Biden 100% of the time. So you know he can't be any good. Everybody get out and vote for Jim, okay? Jim Bognett. Also with us, our Pennsylvania treasurer, a very good person, good woman, Stacey Garrity. Stacey, thank you. Where's Stacey? Hello, Stacey. Thank you, Stacey. Great job you're doing. A friend of mine, a warrior, never let me down, always been there. Representative Dan Muser. Dan, thank you. Great job. Great job. Thank you, Dan. And also Fred Keller, another warrior. Fred, stand up, Fred. What a good guy. Thank you for all your help. He comes to our defense. He gets out there, the two of them. Now, a woman is with us who's very silent, very shy, doesn't believe in using guns to protect yourself. Says anybody can come into my house anytime you'd like. No, she did a little ad. I saw her first time. And her ad was something to the effect, sure, anybody can come into my house. Ding, ding, ding. And then she took this gun. I never saw anybody use a gun. Boom, put it back. And she said, but he might not get out of my house alive. And I said, I think I like her. Marjorie Taylor Greene. A man I'm very proud of. He's got a tough race, but I'm very proud of him because you have a rhino governor in Maryland. His name is Larry Hogan. I think he wants to run for president. I said, you got to look in the mirror first. It's not going to work. Not going to work. But he's a real rhino. And he doesn't want this man because this man is all for our country. His name is Dan Cox, and he beat Larry Hogan's candidate by like 20 points with my endorsement. With my endorsement, and he's doing fantastically. Dan, congratulations. And Larry Hogan, and this is my fault. I'm sorry, Dan, but Larry Hogan is not going to be supporting you only because I am supporting you. So I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that Maryland has a great man running, and I hope you're going to do well, and we'll be out there helping you, okay? Thank you very much. Good. I have a feeling you do very well. A friend of mine who's a great businessman and a great person, Mr. Woody Johnson and his wife, Suzanne Johnson. Where's Woody? Stand up, Woody. He's shy. They own a very small company named Johnson & Johnson. Does anybody like Johnson? I want to own a piece of that company, too. Great job. We love you both. And Cynthia Hughes and Gina Perno with the Patriot Freedom Project. What a job they do. Where are you? Where are you? Stand up. What a job. And we all appreciate it. We all appreciate it. With the help of everybody here today, we are going to fight for Pennsylvania. We're going to win for Pennsylvania this November. One of the first things we will do is stand up for parents' rights. It's time to finally and completely break the radical left's corrupt education cartel. Can you believe, like 10 years ago, let's put yourself back, that somebody would stand up? I can't believe I'm calling myself a politician, but I guess I am. I don't know. I can't stand politicians. But can you believe that 10 years ago, like Put yourself in that position. A politician would be standing up saying, we're going to defend parental rights. I mean, is that about as basic as it gets? But that's what we have to do because these people are crazy. Our children are captive to unhinged Marxist educators who are pushing inappropriate sexual, racial, and political material on our children from the youngest possible age. At long last, every parent in America must be empowered to opt out of the indoctrination and send their child to the public, private, charter, religious, or home school of their choice. In addition, we will get critical race theory the hell out of our schools, out of our military, and out of every part of our federal, state, and local governments, just like I did 2 years ago. It was out. We had it out, but they put it right back in. We will also keep men out of women's sports. You know those stories that I tell? I love to tell those stories. The woman swimmer. Should I tell it again? Should I not? You want me to? Okay. The Mr. Wall. Stand up, Wall, please. This is Mr. Irving Q. Wall. Look. No, it's so ridiculous. And, you know, it's not politically correct. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, but I'm not. Men and women's sports. So you have the swimmer who's a really, I met her the other day, very high-quality swimmer. And she's going to break the record. She's worked like hell. She's worked all her life. The big meet is on. And she looks to the left and she sees all of those great athletes that she's been fighting for years. She looks to the right and she sees, but next to her is this massive human being. She's looking up. Isn't he like 6'6" or something? He's got a wingspan bigger than Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt was small by comparison. And she looked over. I've never seen her before. Anyway, she wanted to break that record. She fought so hard to do it. And the race started, and as you know, she was severely injured. She was injured by windburn because he went by her so fast. The wind burned the hell out of her. And she didn't quite make it that day for the record, but he did. He broke the record by 38 seconds. You know, usually you break it by... She wanted to break it by 1/8 of a second. But he was far better than her. He broke it by 38 seconds. That's one that no woman's ever going to catch, I don't think. And then the better one is the weightlifter. You had a woman. She's going to lift the 213 pounds, and she's going to... That's a lot of weight. Do you think I could lift... Oz, do you think I could lift 213 pounds? I don't know. And she got up, and she was going to break it. They put a half an ounce and a half an ounce. They had these big barbells and dumbbells, and she's up there, and she pulls it up, and she's going to do it. Couldn't do it. She was ashamed, but she couldn't do it. And then this person comes in. You know, they actually call it, it's the correct term, a person in a man's body. That's what they call it. This is supposed to be politically correct. I hope it is, otherwise they'll be very rude to me. The fake news will be very rude. So this guy walks up. They asked him before, did you lift before? No, not too much. And he gets up. Bing. That was the end of that record. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And no teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent. Another one of our highest priorities under a Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship and to restore free speech in America, which we don't have. We don't have free speech. Go out and sign up now, by the way, for Truth Social. Anybody on Truth Social? It's like great. It's hot, and it's much better than Twitter. You see what's going on with Twitter? Twitter's not doing too well. Frankly, if we didn't have truth, we wouldn't be able to get the word out like we do. We get the word out fast. The radical left Democrat Party is not, in my opinion, a 50% party within our country. They're against God, guns, oil, law enforcement, voter ID, tax cuts, regulation cuts, the Constitution, and they're against our founding fathers. Other than that, actually, they're quite good. The way they win is to cheat in elections. I really believe that. How can you be against all of those things and for some of the things that they're for and be considered a 50-50 party? I don't believe it. They cheat like hell on elections all over the country, and they're really good at it. Everywhere the Republican Party has the chance, we must pass critical election integrity reforms, including universal voter ID, citizenship confirmation. No more fake drop boxes by Zuckerberg and these people. No private money pouring into local election offices. And ultimately, we need same-day voting with only paper ballots. It's very simple. Same-day voting. Same day, paper. France just had an election, big country, 35 million people. Same-day voting, all paper ballots. The election ended at 11 o'clock. They had the vote. That was it. Nobody walked away complaining. Right here in Pennsylvania, Democrats are still trying hard to rig your elections. Act 77 clearly violates your state constitution, encouraging widespread abuse of mail-in ballots. And your radical left state Supreme Court just violated the Constitution the second time by overturning a decision by an unbiased lower court. Republicans in the state legislature need to get to work immediately to kill Act 77 by a state constitutional amendment. They have to do it immediately. We are just 2 months away from the most important midterm election in American history, and we need a landslide so big that the radical left just cannot rig it. You know, the more we win by, it gets harder, harder. They can cheat a lot, but once you get to a certain level, it gets very hard. This is the year we're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the Senate. We're going to take back America. Take back America. And in 2024, most importantly, we are going to take back our magnificent White House. Together, we will fight for more jobs for Pennsylvania families, fair trade for Pennsylvania workers, and more Pennsylvania factories forging more products stamped with those beautiful, beautiful words, made in the USA, right? Made in the USA. We will shut down Biden's border disaster, reinstitute our strong Remain in Mexico policy. How good was that? Remain in Mexico. You think it was easy for me to get Remain in Mexico from Mexico, but I got it. I said, you don't give it to me, you're going to pay big tariffs on your cars. Oh, we'd love to give it to you. Strengthen the patriots of ICE and Border Patrol. They're patriots and they're great. We will again end catch and release. We will end chain migration. We will end the visa lottery. And we will clamp down on illegal immigration just like we did less than 2 years ago when we had the safest border in our country's history. We will stop the crime wave in Democrat-run cities. We will give our police the power they need and the respect they deserve. And we will not take legal protection away from our police. These maniacs want to have the police officers go out and hire lawyers so they can defend themselves. We won't do that. We will restore law and order in America, and we will override governors that don't look for law and order. We will hold China accountable for unleashing the virus upon the world. We will protect innocent life. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend the Second Amendment. And we will proudly uphold the Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founding. We will restore patriotic education to our schools, and we will teach our children to love their country, honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. In conclusion, our MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Together we are standing up against some of the most menacing forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. Despite great outside dangers, our biggest threat remains the sick, sinister, and evil people from within our own country. But no matter how big or powerful the corrupt, radical left Democrats are, and they are corrupt and they are powerful, we have to make them much less powerful. We will never allow anyone to forget that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. From Allentown to Johnstown, from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, and from Philadelphia to Scranton, PA, we stand on the shoulders of American legends who poured out their blood, sweat, and tears for our rights and for our freedom. They were so great. Pennsylvania is where our founding fathers declared American independence. It's where the Army weathered its brutal winter at Valley Forge, where General George Washington led his men on a daring mission across the Delaware, and where our Union was saved by immortal heroes at Gettysburg. And this is the state where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania miners, factory workers, and steel workers forged the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a nation that is failing. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in over 50 years, and where the stock market just finished the worst first half of the year since 1872. Likewise, we are a nation that has the highest energy costs in its history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, as we just were 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country in the world. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal will lead to our destruction. We are a nation that is surrendering all over, but in particular to Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your commander-in-chief, and for 4 long years, it didn't happen. Never happened. And China, with Taiwan, is next. We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting, irregularities, and fraud. And we have a president who is cognitively impaired and in no condition to lead our country, and everybody knows it. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are truly the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant like never before, where the economy has been collapsing, where more people died of COVID in 2021 than did in 2020. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, which they are incredibly being allowed to do right now in China, to use trillions and trillions of dollars that is taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And just 2 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everybody knows it. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to around the world. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. We are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every single list. But we are not going to let this continue. 2 years ago, we had the greatest election that we've ever had, but it was taken away from us. We weren't allowed to use the power of the people to make America great again. 2 years ago, we also had greatness like no one had ever seen. And soon we will have that greatness again. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will stand up to the radical left lunatics and the rhinos, and we will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield. We will never give in, we will never give up. We will never, ever, ever back down. As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun, and it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Thank you.